you just got diagnosed with end-stage renal disease, and you're going to go on dialysis. Well, this is likely what you're going to go through, and I'll show you some pictures here in a second. But quick background for me, I had a brain aneurysm rupture in New Year's Eve 2011. That's when I got diagnosed with stage 4 kidney disease. So I knew dialysis was coming because the nephrologist that I spoke to over the years assured me that it was going to happen, because your kidneys don't get better, they only get worse as far as their function. And September of 2021 is when my kidneys finally shut down enough that I couldn't maintain any longer, and I had to go on dialysis. And that's when they put the catheter in my neck, which was extremely painful, because all they did was put in a little local anesthesia, and it was an emergency situation. And then I was on a catheter. That's the way they did my dialysis for 6 months. So 6 months I could only shower from here down, and I had to wash my head in the sink. And then that's when my fistula had matured enough that they could start using it for my hemodialysis, which is the method that I chose. And I'll show you some pictures of that right now. This is the incision that they made to do the vein to the artery thing, which is what a fistula is. And before that, this is the catheter that they put in my neck that bled constantly for like 3 days. So this is what I was dealing with for 3 days, until they finally stitched it up enough that it finally sealed up. And once it sealed up, this is what it looked like after that for the next 5 months. So when they started doing it in my neck, it took about 6 months, but then it was just a matter of getting used to the routine of going into dialysis 3 times a week. And it takes a lot of time. When I was going, I had to go to the hospital. It took anywhere from 10 to 12 hours to get processed in, wait in line, get the dialysis, and then go home. And it was extremely tiring. Today is the day after dialysis right now, and I'm so tired. I can barely, even just sitting here is tiring. But in the beginning, it was terrible, because they hadn't set my dry weight. Your dry weight is what your weight is with your fluids removed, your toxins, and getting your blood cleaned. After that, that's your dry weight. And if they don't know your dry weight, they're just guessing. And that's what they were doing with me. And it's hard on your heart, which I didn't know either. I didn't know anything. And it's extremely hard on your heart, because, your heart's pumping, plus it's getting pumped through a machine. It's controlling the temperature of and the flow rate of your blood going through your body. And they took out 4 liters one of the first times I went in, which I could not handle. I thought I was having a heart attack when I got home, man. I couldn't breathe. I was like just struggling, And so after that, they under-dialyzed me. I was being under-dialyzed. And that's when I started getting a lot of water weight, and I started blowing up. And my belly, everything just started getting heavy, and I wasn't getting the fluid out of my body. And that led to a very serious I got pneumonia, almost died. I'll show you that in an upcoming video, but that was a whole ordeal in itself. Just getting used to the dialysis itself takes time. Once that happens, once you get into the flow of things, it gets easier. But it still is a full-time job, just going to dialysis. Even if you got a set time, a set schedule, it's going to take 6 hours. That's what it takes me. It takes 6 hours. 4 hours for the treatment. It takes an hour to get there, get processed in. It takes about a half an hour after you get through to get the needles out of your arm, get the bandages put on. So it ends up taking about 6 hours. So that's what you're going to be doing that day. And hey, you ain't going to be doing anything else after that. Ain't like you're going to be out playing tennis, man. So just let yourself relax, let yourself rest is what I suggest. And you'll understand when you're there. So after 6 months or so of my neck is when they began putting the needles in my arm. And this is what that looks like.
Does this still hurt? Does that still hurt?
Oh, no.
Real better.
You can see here that the incision they made to do the vascular work for my fistula is completely healed. So it's been every bit of 6 months at this point. And you'll notice that my fistula is, you can't even see it there. But I'll show you in a second how big it is now. It's huge, and your fistula is going to change too. It's going to get bigger. But that's better because it's going to be easier for them to stick the needles in and dialyze you. It will become easier in time.
Okay. Sorry.
A lot of times when they stick the needles in now, I can't even feel it because it's been inserted so many times that the nerves are kind of dead right there. So sometimes I feel it, sometimes I don't. It just depends. Sometimes they'll stick it in the same hole that it was in the time before, and I can't even feel it at all then. That's the best time.
I'm gonna have to do the same as before.
All the way around.
Because it needs to stick. Okay. Right?
The nurses are there to help you, and they take their job very seriously. And so if you're uncomfortable any time, just tell them, and they'll do whatever they can do to make it easier for you.
Sorry.
Once they get the final needle in, they'll turn on the machine, which will begin your dialyzation process. And from that time on, it's going to take 4 hours. So bring a phone or a tablet or something to keep yourself busy. And you only got one hand, so keep that in mind.
Hey, this is really not sticking.
So here's the good news. Life is not over. And it just changes. Life changes. And let me show you my fistula now. You see that? See how big it is? So just accept that, and it will be easier. but in the sense that any of this is easy. But life is not over, so you can still live a pretty good life. But I'm gonna do more videos like this. I really don't know what to say because I don't like talking about this either. So I'll show you some problems I had with dialysis, and they're serious. It's something to take into consideration. So, see you next time. Thanks for watching.